liar. I'm God, bitch.
Look up in the sky, is that a goon or green goblin? None of the above, it's a motherfucking dragon. Super Saiyan 2 to a cell, no problem. You put me in a cell, then you got
bad out, nigga. I'm God, nigga.
Boy Troy, your friendly neighborhood NGTOW, and I'm your friend. Absolutely. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about something a little bit esoteric today. Now, for some of us out there, now, I understand a lot of people that kind of come into the MGTOW community are very logically minded people. Right, we like to see the evidence of things. We like to, you know, how do I put it? Things that are kind of spiritual in a weird way are kind of, I don't want to say foreign to us, but, you know, we're certainly a lot more skeptical than the average man. I mean, particularly if you've taken the red pill, if you haven't, it's something that, you know, it's just kind of inherent to who we are. So I want to bring up something. I was actually going through some things, and I think I found an interesting little insight that I want to talk about. And you know, so for those of you that you know, you don't really believe in, you know, spiritual aspects or things of that nature, you know, obviously this isn't the video where I want to really go in and talk about you know, how I feel like everything is really the same, even if we're talking about spirituality or, you know, kind of the base levels of things. But just stick around, and I believe this will be interesting. But I was actually doing some going over some actually, you know what, just a little bit about me before we jump into this. You know, obviously I've done research on a number of things. A lot of those things somewhat you know, spiritual in nature, a lot of things esoteric in nature. You know, some people, you know, say, well, that's all bullshit or whatever, but there's still grains of truth in everything. And you know, if there's one thing that I was for whatever reason I was going through something the other day, and something just kind of just jumped out at me, something I've never really seen before. So I'm going to put down somewhere, I don't know exactly where, but on the screen I'm going to put like a picture of the tree of life, the Kabbalah. You know, why am I bringing up weird shit like this? Well, because I think I saw something and I found it pretty interesting. You know, you know, when I was looking at this thing, you know, I started looking at, you know, there's two pillars. You have the pillar of severity, and you have the pillar of mercy. You know, you have, and then the pillar of severity, this is the pillar that is feminine in nature, and you have the pillar of mercy, which is masculine in nature. And before, when I was going through this, maybe a few years ago, and I'm just skimming over some things, I never really got into it. But I was like, well, I don't understand why the pillar, why the feminine energy is the one that has, you know, the sephirot or whatever of strength, and of not just strength, but what's the word I'm looking for, of severity, of you know, harshness, things of that nature. It just seemed like, and it seemed like the masculine one, the pillar of mercy, it just seems soft, right? When you think about prototypical, you know, the prototype of men and women, men are typically the, you know, the hard-nosed, stern, and the women are supposed to be the, you know, mercy and things of that nature. And I never really understood it then, but looking at it now, it makes a lot more sense to me, you know. And so I'm looking at this thing, and obviously, if you look down on the little diagram, we have the, you have the earth or whatever, us, you have the foundation, and then you can go one or two ways. Now, if you start your path on the pillar of severity, you start on it starts on the node. I'll just call it the node, right? I mean, it's called the Sephiroth or whatever. I don't know. I'll probably fuck up the pronunciation of it, but I'll call it the node of glory, right? The node of, and what I like to consider this is the node of sensationalism, right? So if you start at the bottom, and you can go two ways, right? I mean, you can go, but we're talking about the pillars right here, right? You can go one way, you can go the other way. One way is the path of victory. The other way is the path of glory. Now, being victorious, you think that those two things are the same, but they're really not. If we look at the path of victory, what that means is, self-discipline, self-sacrifice. It's about, oftentimes you can be very victorious in something and never receive any glory. I mean, how many times have you achieved something, and even if it's a little small victory for yourself that no one else really knows, but at the same time, it's something that made you better. I mean, I can say for me personally, at the time of this recording, I've lost about I want to say 18 pounds, and honestly, like, and 18 pounds in like the course of a month. And I'm not saying that to brag, but it really is something that it's like I kind of just got to a point when I was like, you know what, fuck it, like I'm just gonna pound this out. Like I'm gonna move my ass as much as possible. I'm gonna try to get myself back in athlete shape, and we're just gonna go with this thing, right? And but it's a personal victory. Now, there's no glory in it. There's no parades. I'm not getting any championship rings or anything for it. I mean, but it is a victory, right? Whereas sometimes with glory, I think of sensationalism, right? Shit that feels good. That starts you on the path of severity. And now it makes sense to me, right? Because how many times does it feel better, right? So when we talk about glory, we're talking about feeling good. Right, we're talking about the essence, the feeling of just feeling good. And now some of you kind of already see where I'm going with this here. Some of you already kind of see, oh yeah, sometimes doing the shit that makes you feel good doesn't necessarily lead to things that are actually good for you. Like for most people, it feels better to be on the couch and watch, The Walking Dead and all this other stuff, and to eat Cheetos and bonbons and all kinds of shit. But that's what makes you feel good. That's your glory, right? That's what glory is. You feel good. You feel glorified. All kinds of shit, right? But if we look about where that leads. Now, once you've attained victory in your life, once you've kind of mastered yourself, and you've gotten yourself to a point to where now you start to be more confident. Like I say, you're victorious. You're going, you're doing your thing. As you go up on the pillar, on the column, you go up to the pillar of mercy. Now, how does victory lead to mercy, right? And I like to put it this way, right? I like to put it this way because mercy is kind of the way that we certainly, I'll try to relate this as how we interact with other people, right? Like even when let's say I'm at the gym, obviously, most of the people that are there, most of the time when I walk into I'm like the most athletic person that goes into that motherfucker. Most people aren't. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you're able to show mercy to other people because it's like, all right, I built this up for myself and I'm feeling good, this and that, but I'm not going to shit on somebody else that's trying to do something similar for them in their life. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that guy. And it's kind of the same thing with anything, like, and it's not really this thing of, oh, I just don't want to be perceived as an asshole. I don't want, no, you're really like kind of at this place where like you're kind of concerned, well, I'm doing me, I'm gonna continue to chase my victory and, you know, do my thing and attain my goals, right? And you know, you have that sympathy for other people that are doing the same thing. Like, you have less capacity to hate, even when you see people that are above you, that are and I'm using physical fitness because I guess, you know, we started out on that path. But, you know, you see the people that, you know, maybe they got more gains than you. Maybe they're slimmer than you. Maybe they're whatever. And you look at that person and you don't hate. You know, you don't hate. You say, wow, like you actually kind of admire. You like, that's part of that mercy. You look, you just like, wow, you can actually appreciate, right? You appreciate it. You're like, wow, like, and you know what? I'm gonna do something similar. I may not look like that, but when it comes to me and my life, I'm gonna be doing better. You know, and then from there, at the very, very top of it all, is the node of wisdom. Right? You go from victory to mercy, you know, compassion, that type of thing, to wisdom. Now, wisdom in and of itself is, if you think about knowledge, you know, knowledge is the acquisition of information. Wisdom is more of like what I want to call the potential of knowing how to apply the information, you know, kind of at a distance, but we'll circle back to that in a minute. I want to talk about the pillar of severity for a second here. So obviously it starts out, I mean, look, just like anything, it starts out with glory. It starts out with, you know, good things, right? But look at where that leads. Most of the time, it leads to severity. It leads, there we go, that's the word I was looking for earlier, discipline. Right? A lot of times people, you know, they eat, and then they get fat, and now all of a sudden, you know, once they stand up from a chair, they talking about, oh, I have asthma. And then get the fuck out of here. You got 50 pounds of fat around your fucking lungs. Like, that's what you got. Talking about, oh man, the air is polluted in this. Man, get the fuck out of here. Global warming and shit having ass nigga. Get the fuck out of here. Excuse me. But so we talk about what are we talking about here? Yeah. So we start out at glory. We start out at sensationalism, feeling good. You know, or how about, you know, you're in your 20s, I mean, and you're, you know, particularly for women, but, you know, you're fucking your life away, quite literally for some of y'all, fucking your life away, and then there reaches that point, I mean, and this is what, like, most millennial women are running into right now. You know, you're fucking your life away, you're doing, you know, all kinds of bullshit, and then all of a sudden there reaches that point when it's like, you know, that biological clock, it ticks, and then finally it's saying, hey, let's get on it now. And now it's like, holy shit, I haven't built up any structure as far as like having a man in my life. Like I haven't, but at the same time, like they say, well, I've done this for myself and done that for myself and Like at the same time, it doesn't matter. See, now you're running into severity. Now you're running into discipline, which could mean either one of two things. Like you've spent your time on sensationalism, and at the same time, for a lot of people, and I'll say women in particular, and this is why we're seeing what we're seeing in the world today, is even if they go to, even for the woman who, I went to college and I'm strong and independent and I did da-da-da-da-da-da. Right, she did sensationalism. She did the thing that the world told her to do, the thing that makes her feel good. She didn't necessarily do the thing that was best for her, but it was the thing that made her feel the best. Now, and so, but let's take that another step further. Why does it make it? Because that is something that gives her importance. You see, now it's like, well, I don't need a man to give me, you know, anything to make me feel important. I'll go out and make myself feel important, let alone like not realizing that there are certain things, there's a certain way that you have to be as a woman to attract a quality man. But though that at the same time, it's like, you know, she says, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do things to make myself feel better for me in and of myself. So now you run into the pillar of severity. Or it's also, like I say, the pillar of discipline. You either run into something where it's like, okay, now I'm reaping the, or should I say that not the benefits, but the consequences for chasing glory. Or take it a step further and you reach that point when it's like, okay, now I kind of fucked around, but okay, now it's time to get serious. Now it's time to get my ass in gear and really get these things going. And from there, it leads to the node of understanding, right? Now, and this is important. I don't know how many minutes I'm into this motherfucker, but here's like the important thing to kind of notice when it comes to particularly women, because we're talking about the pillar of femininity. And what's the thing that women talk about they want the most? Well, besides money and kids and whatnot, right? Women say that they want to be understood. They want understanding, right? They don't say that. They don't say, I just want a man that, you know, has knowledge. I don't want a man that has wisdom, right? I want a man that can understand me. I mean, how many times, as you know, and look, at this point, it's just like a trope. It's like it's just like a straw character, a straw man or a straw woman that, you know, the woman that, you know, she doesn't say anything to her partner. And you know, as dudes, you've probably felt this shit before. You've probably been through it where a woman says nothing. You know, and you might not even really know what's going on in her life. You know, you might just, hey, everything's cool. How you doing? I'm good. All right, cool. You go about your day, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you know, he's not paying attention to me. Da 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 da. I said nothing, but it really meant this, and this. And I said I was fine, but it really meant this. Da da da. Right? Because she wants, what's that? Understanding. You need to just understand her. Hold up. Oh shit. Let me get a cup of coffee. I'm on my shit right now. I'm like Popeye. I'm about to get this spinach going. All right. But that's her thing. She wants understanding. Now, for the dude, now look, here's the nice guy on the pillar of severity. I'm sorry, on the pillar of wisdom, right? The pillar of mercy. This is the guy that he goes to school. You know, he gets a degree, a useful degree, right? A lot of these women talking about, well, I went to college and got a degree in like lesbian fine arts or whatever the fuck no one gives a shit about, but you know, it is what it is. So this is a dude, like he went to school, worked his ass off, didn't party, didn't do anything, you know, this and that, worked his way up. Now he's at a place of wisdom. Now, you know, he's kind of got some resources going on, some assets, and he's in a place of wisdom. You know, but at the same time, women don't necessarily want that. They want the guy that's understanding. They want the guy that, you know, that pretty much treats them like children, like a parent would treat a child, right? Because like, you know, children, you know, they grow up and you know, they can't communicate as well as we as adults, well, we're supposed to communicate, right? They can't do that. Like, there comes a place where as an adult, to a child, where you have to just be like, okay, you can't really communicate. When you toss your cup of water off the high chair, it means you don't want water, or you're feeling this certain way, feeling that kind of way. Da 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 da. They want that same thing for themselves, but at the same time, you ask yourself, why do women put us men through so much bullshit? Why do they put us through so much pain? Why are women such bitches and all this other good thing? And I'm telling you, because they are on the pillar of severity. And to get to most of the time, the root to now, if you understand, there's different ways that you can get to understanding, but for most women, the route that it took them to get to understanding was through severity. So they only know one way to get a man to understand them. Look, as you notice, look, there's a way to get there through I think it's through beauty, right? Through the, you know, the solar plexus, the beauty, but it's also willpower. You know, there's a way to get there through knowledge. There's a way to get there through wisdom, but that requires, to get there through beauty, to understanding, it's like you have to come from a place of willpower. You have to come from a place of wanting, a place of sheer force, which is something that most women aren't good at. They're not good at kind of imposing their will. They're not good at really expressing themselves. They're not good at, you know, that's kind of what willpower is. That's what you're seeing right now. That willpower, that, okay, this is what's going on. And at the same time, there's other ways to get there through knowledge, and there's other ways to get there through wisdom, right? But at the same time, like they don't have that knowledge. They don't have that wisdom. A lot of that comes with the knowledge of knowing of how to communicate that, of finding the words and getting over themselves. That's why on the pillar of victory, of the pillar of mercy, we started victory, because you go through the hard things first. Okay, this is who I am. This is what I can bring to the table. This is the thing that I'm built to do. And so you go up and up and up. So now you reach a place of will, and it's like, okay, I'm better able to talk about, you know, the things that I like, the things that I don't like. I'm better able to communicate. That's the road that I took to get there. If we're talking about just the pillars, like I say, this is a whole, people spend years, some people spend lifetimes studying this stuff, but for most women, particularly in this culture, it starts out with sensationalism, then they reach a place, you know, because this tells them, oh, you're such a beautiful, wonderful snowflake, you're a beautiful woman and everybody should love you. So they think, okay, I'm a beautiful, wonderful woman, everybody should love me, so they kind of do whatever they want to do. Then they reach a place of severity, they reach a place of discipline, but at the same time, a lot of them don't have that discipline. They're not willing, right? They're not willing to get that discipline. So, you know, so they just kind of go through the severity of life, and then they get to understanding. You see, now they're at a place where they can look at other women and, well, what's going on? Nothing. Okay, well, she said nothing. That really means da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I know that because I've been through you see what I'm getting at, right? So now they get with the man who maybe hasn't gone through the same experiences or the same anything like that. So how does she get a man to understand her? Not through willpower, right? Not through anything like that. Not through clear and concise communication, but by pretty much sending him through the pillar of severity. Right? Of sending him through the place of pain. And it's not, look, like I say, there's discipline and then there's pain. Most times it's sending him through a place of pain. But yeah, look, I mean, I can talk for days about this type of stuff, but and how it all relates and things of that nature. But look, if I were you, I would start working on your victory. If I were you, I would start working on the things that, and look, it may be tough. Like I say, it's going to be tough to start with. But I would try to get to a place to where, you know, I'm attaining victories constantly, getting goals, striving for them, working for them, you know, continuing to press forward. Like, you don't have to be in a place of severity all the time. And let's say you are in that place where, you know what, it is too far along and life has fucked you over. Well, you know what, no, you fucked yourself over. Life did not fuck you over. let's say that that's you and you're in that place now. Well, shit. Now it's time to form that discipline. Now it's time to get that ass rolling, right? Because one way or another, there's going to be understanding. One way or another, like, you know, there's going to come a price to pay. If you're at a place now where discipline is being imposed on you, if you're at a place right now where discipline is being imposed on you, then you haven't taken enough time to understand what your victory should look like. Now I'm starting to sound like a fucking motivational speaker, but that's the truth of what I see that it is. But I'm gonna stop this right here. I want you to go on ahead. If you like the bullshit that I speak, go ahead, leave that like. Go on ahead and comment below. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Also head on over to beaushit.com. There's articles, all kinds of great shit. Enlightenment manual. That's the greatest self-discovery system in the world. A lot of the concepts that I talked about now is going to be in that. It just great stuff all around. So look, with that, I am your boy Troy. I'm your friend. Absolutely, I am your friend. And I will see you on the other side.
The dick was good. Well, this is the only problem, though. She said the dick was so good that as she started rocking, she just got into it, and all of a sudden, she said something just hit her. Bam! All upside his head. Just slapped him. Dick will make you slap somebody. So y'all need to remember that. That's what I'm trying to deal with. The fact.
More like constipated, cause you know I do not take shit. Maybe I may give shit. Give this misfit. Like a small condom on this dick. Words are like bullets and my bullets go ballistic. Beat hit hard, Ray Lewis, hold a hit stick.
You gonna get this work, nigga.